initially you can ask the cards whatever you like. You can ask the cards whatever you like, but do you really believe it? Do you really believe the cards can answer all of these types of questions? Do you really believe the answer? Okay, everybody, welcome back. My name is Anna from Astralladytarot. This is not my usual setting or any of my usual settings because I'm at someone else's house and I thought it would be nice to film anyway. I brought my camera for a reason. I have some things to say. And this is the quietest and best place, in my opinion, to film in this house because right now someone else is having a Zoom call. So this is kind of like my moment and space. As you can see from the title of this video, I'm going to talk about whether the tarot can say if you are pregnant or not. So this might sound like a non-issue on this channel. If you've seen any of my other stuff, I will obviously say no, it's not possible. But actually, it's not really that simple, in my opinion. This is the video that I was referring to in my Thoth comparison video that I did a while ago. Part 1, I think I was talking about this. And it's just very interesting, I think, and worth, opening up again as a subject online with you guys. So you can react in the comments what you think about this. Because you know what? That pregnant question is really just an example for more things. Because one of the reasons I find this interesting is because my ideas of what the tarot can do or what the cards can be used for, what the strength is of the tarot, is kind of challenged here because of my own personal experiences about whether the tarot can actually predict the future. And there's then that question of, well, even if the cards were right in this instance and in that other instance and then in another instance, does that mean that I should believe that the tarot should be used for these types of predictions or for these types of readings? So there's point 1. Maybe I am just a skeptic with my own woo-woo stuff. That's very possible. Then secondly, this specific question of the pregnant question is interesting because it's not really a future question. It's not really a question about predicting the future. It's about, is someone pregnant now? So just there, does that make a difference for you? I want to know. Do you read these types of questions? Do you do these types of readings? I know that there's probably a difference between reading for yourself, where there's no judgment and you can actually take things very easily with a grain of salt, because after all, it's coming from your own interpretation of the cards, and reading for others, where you actually have to do this big disclaimer, something that I have called the disclaimer sandwich, which I might get into in this video, not sure. Maybe I'll make a separate video about the thing I call the disclaimer sandwich, which really saves my integrity as a reader, which really saves my readings, I wanted to say, actually. So I'm making this video because I got an email quite recently from someone who watches my videos. And while this might be funny, I'm not sure if this was, if you're watching, person who sent me this email, don't take this the wrong way, but I hope you can agree that I have my doubts if this was a real question or if this was a troll, because it was just such a funny situation. Anyway, the question was, I have asked the tarot, I have asked my cards around 10 times, I believe you said, whether if I'm pregnant, and every time the card said yes, but I'm not pregnant. What do you think is going on? And This was a short email, you know, it wasn't like 4 pages long discussion about tarot in my email, you know, inbox. So I felt inclined and like I had the energy and time to just answer with, you know what, I think the tarot is not the greatest tool to do these types of readings with, because first of all, the cards are no doctor, and then they don't have a medical degree, you know. And then second of all, it's a yes or no question, so it's like 50-50 chance, and I don't think that tarot is the best tool to, well, use that on those types of questions. And then, you know, this person did definitely seem aware of this bias that a person can have reading its own cards, reading their own cards. Like, you know, for instance, if you want to be pregnant, then it's very likely that you see it in the cards that you are or you will be, or something along those lines, right? It's kind of like that wishful thinking. It's kind of like that seeing in the cards what you want to see. So I said, yeah, that's definitely, you know, could be a factor of why you see that in the cards that you got. I mean, there was no mention of which cards came up, right? But that's just personal and private. But that was my answer. And then quite quickly after that, I received the answer, oh my God, the cards were right. I am pregnant. So, you know, thank you so much for your answer anyway, but something. And I replied, congratulations, that's great. And then was left with this really interesting idea for a video, because this is funny, isn't it? It's just, how do I say that? First of all, just to go through this whole pregnancy example, I know from friends that it actually takes a while for a pregnancy test to show whether a woman is pregnant. That doesn't mean that she isn't pregnant when the test says negative. It takes a little while for the test kind of to pick up on it or something like that. So there's a possibility right there that the cards were actually saying you are pregnant. 10 times the cards confirmed you're pregnant, right? The thing is, I think it's great, you know, great for this person. But I still don't see, even if the tarot is right in those moments, I just don't see the tarot as the best tool to figure out whether someone is pregnant or not. I think a pregnancy test would do a better job at that. Because also, what would you choose, really? Would you choose a pregnancy test or tarot deck? You know, don't want to mix those up. You can really ruin your tarot deck. Because the main question here is, for me at least, where does this stop? So fine, the cards were right. If this is even a real situation, I like to think so, because then I can be genuinely happy for this person, right? But you must admit, right, if you're watching, it's a little bit of a funny situation there. So I just have my doubts. I mean, you know, the internet is a weird place, but you know, if you're really out there, I'm genuinely happy for you, if that's true. The main question here is, though, where does it stop? Because it's great that the cards were right, because it was something that you wanted. But what if the cards predict an illness? It's really all of those medical questions, isn't it? I don't like to read for those types of questions. Like, you know, will this surgery go well? If the answer is yes, I mean, cool. But what if the answer is no? There's 50% chance of the tarot saying either yes or no, of anything saying either yes or no. I mean, I'm talking today about those medical questions, right? I don't like to read the cards on those types of questions. I much rather just say, I don't read on those subjects. What I can do is guide you on what you can focus on during your pregnancy or during your recovery of something, you know, of an illness or of a surgery. I'm not going to read if the surgery is going to go well or not. I mean, when a client really does want to know yes or no, and I am doing that puzzle in-depth reading, and it feels right in the moment to actually go there, I will use that disclaimer sandwich, as in, okay, so you really want to know? You really want to know yes or no? We can pull a card, see what comes up. The disclaimer, first disclaimer I give is, I don't usually do these types of readings, or I don't do these types of readings. This is just not how I read the cards, so you won't get a flat yes or no. You'll get a yes, but, no, and yet. You know what I mean? Always that advice in there. All right, if the client accepts that, all right, we continue. Then I read the card or cards and give my opinion, if it's a yes or a no, or maybe very unclear, that also happens sometimes, or yes or no, and then I add the stuff. It's actually no or, that last part. I always add that last stuff, that last bit of information. It's what the cards can do. It's the beauty of the cards, right? It's just never just a yes or a no. It's a yes and something something. It's a no but something something. Just examples, but or half examples. But then I end again with, this is to be taken with a grain of salt, or, remember what I said before before I answered this question for you, this last question that you really needed to know, whether it was a yes or a no. Keep in mind that this is what you wanted to ask, right? This is not the strength of the tarot, I guess. I know it sucks. I know that I explained this better at some point, but right now, this is just the best that comes out of me right now. It was this whole thing, and it made sense, and it was just really good advice also for beginner readers, I think. But right now, this was it. Initially, you can ask the cards whatever you like. You can ask the cards whatever you like, but do you really believe it? Do you really believe the cards can answer all of these types of questions? Do you really believe the answer? And then also, it can be really unsettling. For instance, your question is, will my surgery go well? What if you get the Tower card on a question like that? You know what I mean? It's like, okay, well, there's your answer. And what does that help you? I'm being really harsh right now, but I'm not trying to judge or anything, really. It's just, those are just the thoughts in my head, and I'm just saying them out loud at this point. This is what this channel has become. But what if you get a really unsettling card with an important question like that? It's already very scary, or it can be scary. It can be very stressful. The only thing that a negative card like that will do, I think, on a question like that is stress you even more, which is not something you need right now, right? If it's a serious surgery, you need all your strength. And then what about, it's just that I think that emotional aspect to these types of questions, because the questions are not about self-development, because the questions are not about helping and giving the power back to the reader, which I like to do. And also in reading for myself. I mean, I have warned you guys in previous videos that I have been experimenting with what the tarot can do. My beliefs, or ideas rather, have not changed, but it's just so much fun to try it out, kind of like behind closed doors, yet here I am talking about it to you. But there are no stakes because I'm just reading for myself. And it is for entertainment purposes. The funny thing is, which is probably an even bigger aspect of why I wanted to make this video, is because I have a brother, okay? And he has kids. I feel like I predicted his little family that he's got going on right now. So let me explain. Because this was not a reading for anybody else. This was not a client reading. This was really a reading for me just to see what was going on. I don't even really remember. It's been a few years. But I pulled 2 cards and there was no... Was there? No, I don't think there was the question of, is his girlfriend pregnant or anything like that. It's just, I think it was just a question of what's going to happen between him and his girlfriend or something like that. And I think at that point it wasn't really a topic that we were talking about. I'm really not sure. Sorry about that. But let me show you the 2 cards that I pulled. I just pulled 2 cards and I saw this. And then I don't want to say that I knew because it just really doesn't fit my style, but I was a little bit, oh wow. So I basically pulled the 2 cards in the tarot deck, in my opinion, that can mean pregnancy. The Empress and the 3 of Cups. Now keep in mind, I was not using this deck. I was using the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. So we get a very pregnant Empress sitting on her throne and the 3 of Cups with the 3 ladies, I don't know what that's called, like toasting or something, to their success. And it's all about abundance and to their success of the garden being such a abundant place, such a fruitful place. So kind of like the work is done and it's, yeah, the growth. And then here, because I was implementing Marseille meanings, it really is, I have a mic in my hand, so the parents and then the child. Now, I know another card that a lot of people see, like a child or pregnancy in, is the Page of Cups. Now, this is really funny because in this deck, the Page of Cups has a big belly. But also in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, I definitely see the Page of Cups as child energy. Yeah, like the inner child card. But I don't do these types of readings. So, yeah. On the other hand, it's really difficult to explain what I thought of this. It was, first of all, it was a while ago, right? But I did definitely read in the cards, okay, so baby is coming. And believe me, I took it with a huge grain of salt, like many, many grains of salt. I could have salted the streets if it was winter and slippery outside. I don't know what the hell I'm saying. And then I started thinking, hold on, this is not the only occasion where this occurred. Because I pulled, not from this deck, but here this is the only deck I have with me. I pulled the 7 of Cups from the Wildwood tarot deck on the day that kind of like a family pet died. The cat died. And if you know the Wildwood, the 7 of Cups card has the keyword mourning on it, as in MOURNING. Mourning. So definitely made sense there, as in, yeah, beloved little kitty. And it wasn't like an old cat, it was a young kitty. Not for my family, but kind of like the people that I knew. That was a really sad day. But yeah, I mean, I do remember thinking about, oh well, I pulled that card in the morning and that happened. It was just really, I think, the connection that I made. Then again, maybe someone else watching this thinking, Anna, what are you doing? It's obviously the cards predicted this, or you predicted this, or I don't know. I just don't like the idea that every time a card comes up with the keyword mourning, OU, or with the death depicted on it, that means literal death. On a lighter note, it was really just entertainment. Just the cards, you know, how I take it very seriously. I also have so much fun with the cards, and fun in the serious aspects of it. I mean, I must admit, I also kind of have fun during doing shadow work for myself sometimes. Sometimes it's just really harsh and there's no fun about it, but also I have fun that I can read all of this in the cards. You know, it's really quite magical. Um, and I don't mean like I can read this. We can read all of this of ourselves, of our psyche in the cards, and that's what I find amazing. So, but then there's that whole other side of my partner and I started watching MMA fights, and then to be honest, I just kind of watch like this through my fingers because sometimes it's just really wow. But he asked me to see whether there was this match, whether the old champion who made a comeback would win or the new fresh guy would win. And I said, well, who do you think is going to win? You know, who has more chances? He said, well, really, really don't know. New guy is really a little bit too green maybe to win, but then the old guy, he might just be a little bit too old and out of shape, which is possible. On the other hand, old guy has so much experience and he was a really good fighter. He's been training really hard. And then the new guy also looks really like he can handle all of this. So just to paint you a little bit of a picture, I guess I tried. All right, with that encouragement, I pulled two cards. One for the old guy, or let's call him the comeback guy, and one for the fresh guy. Again, I was using the Rider-Waite-Smith, but comeback guy got the Emperor. Very good card. Fresh guy got the Chariot. Also a very good card. So I started quickly dissecting this reading. Well, my first thought, not my first thought, but the first thing I said was, well, these are both leaders. They're both really, really strong cards. The Emperor is obviously all about that stability and that base and that experience, and he's the leader. He still holds that scepter. He's still like the boss. And then the Chariot is that prince, like that young prince full of energy and moving forward and breaking boundaries and all of that. Just like some clients do, he really pushed me to give an answer, right? What do you think? Well, my conclusion was fresh guy is going to win. Why? Because Emperor is 4 and it's kind of like the old master, and you could say that the Chariot is the prince, which is the 7 already higher number. It still holds the 4, but it adds the 3 of the growth. And you could say that the Chariot is the prince that comes and takes the crown from the Emperor. So really old guy, fresh guy vibes already. And then lo and behold, fresh guy wins the match. So that was really fun. Also, I think I predicted in the same sense, or the cards predicted in the same sense, all of this entertainment purposes, grain of salt, all of that, that the Netherlands were going to lose the match of soccer or football, however you call it, with the tossed 9 of swords or something like that. The thing is, when my partner really wants an answer regarding these questions, it's fun. When clients really want an answer, I definitely think about whether it feels right, whether it is right within my ethics to actually give an answer. I will use that disclaimer sandwich thing, you know. Still, when there are, and I'm going to stick to that, I'm sticking to that, when there are questions that I really don't answer, I will just say, I respect you, and therefore I'm going to direct you to another reader. I'm not the reader for you. If you really want to use the cards to find out stuff like this, then I'm not the reader for you, because I'm just not going to put this approach of the tarot aside that really fits me and what I think I can do for the reader. You know what I mean? So it's not, I don't think it's an ego thing, actually. I think it's genuine interest in the person and also genuinely wanting to help. The problem with these 50-50 readings, chance readings, is that there's a huge chance that you are wrong. There's a huge probability that you are wrong. On the other hand, just as equally as much chance to be right, but I really don't like those odds. And it's not only about odds, but it's really about, this is my practice, and I just don't dedicate my practice to these kinds of readings. Although you can hear that there are a few examples that say, I do try it and I give it a go, but it's never just that. It's just never that serious. It's never that serious. And when I feel comfortable to answer with the cards these types of questions, or as in these types like 50-50, for instance, questions for clients, yeah, then I will use the disclaimer sandwich. As in, I start, when I'm already shuffling the cards, I say, look, tarot is not the best tool to see this. We can just see what card comes up. Fine. If that's fine, we pull the card. I do the reading. If they insist, is it a yes or no, then I will say, well, yes, but, yes, or no, but, or anything like that. As in, I will still elaborate. That is like the huge word that I'm looking for. It will still be the solving of a puzzle. It will not just be the easy shortcut, right? And then I end the reading with, but then again, this is just what the cards say now, and I'm interpreting it in this way because you asked me to do that. I wouldn't have done that without that question. Maybe that made more sense. I don't know. I think that I have my ethics as a reader, and I do also just want to help the person. So if the person really wants to get this specific answer and it feels right, it feels like this is something that I can do, it feels like this is something that the tarot can do, I will answer the question and then add that flavor of what I believe in, what the tarot can do, the actual strength of the tarot, the elaborate. Yeah. Also, I definitely want to add, with all of these examples that I gave, the kitty, the pregnant, the MMA match, and the soccer match, I definitely think that I remember just the times where the cards were right. That's called something, isn't it? It's I keep forgetting. If you know, let me know. But this whole list of 4 things, at least, was a list of things where I was right. We're less likely to remember a list of wrongs, if you know what I mean. So yeah, definitely admitting here, definitely tarot confessions time. Yet again, I have experimented with this. And at least a few times, the cards were right. The readings were correct. But there will always be that grain of salt. Grain of salt, people. It's just important. It's important. Because these readings, to me, fall under the category of for entertainment purposes only. Disclaimer. Right? I feel like in my personal style, there's no reason to put that disclaimer, because honestly, we go really, really deep, in depth with the cards. It's like, it's not always fun. It's not for entertainment purposes. Like, it's really cool that I can solve this puzzle for people. of what the cards are saying, but it's not always entertainment, is what I'm trying to say. It's psyche and empowerment and development and just making sense of the self. Okay. With all of those examples that I gave, with this whole ramble, I definitely hope it makes sense. I know I have a lot of editing to do for sure. With all of that said, you could argue, I definitely understand, you could argue, well, who cares what you think? The cards were right. That means that the tarot is a good tool to do these types of readings with. Going back to the very first example, the reason that I made this video, the person was pregnant. The cards were right. That's proof right there. And the thing with my brother, and the thing with all the other things. You know what? Fine. The readings were accurate. I'll give you that one. I'll give you that much. But I'm a skeptic with my own practice, I guess. I just want it to make sense. I just want to understand how it works. I think I understand how it works. And it's not that I don't believe it, because it actually is happening in front of my eyes. It's just that it is too unreliable. And so I don't want to be an unreliable tarot reader, right? Even if all of those examples were rights. I think if I keep this experiment up, there will be a lot of wrongs as well. I don't like the idea of being an unreliable tarot reader. I don't want to give readings where I have to put that for entertainment purposes only. Disclaimer. And, I believe that is a law in some states of America. But there's also just that thing, if I remember correctly, a lot of readers who have that disclaimer, they also put in their video or site or anything or bio, 100% accurate, really very accurate tarot reader. Yeah, it's just the style, I guess. But any question with yes or no, I still think is just not great for tarot. It's just how I make those questions work is really just to elaborate and use the disclaimer sandwich. You will never hear a flat, dry, I don't know how to say it, yes, that will happen. No, no way. Like, don't even think about it. Like, you can stop your dream right here. Okay, last thing I want to add is intuition. Okay, I definitely do use intuition in my readings, as in something will come up, just a feeling or a thought or a word, and I will kind of like make a note of it, and usually I do mention it to the querent, as in I use intuition in a reading. It's not all coming from the cards, because sometimes it feels like there's that extra message that I don't see reading in the cards, and I do accept that in my practice, and I do use that also when I read for myself. That's just the intuition part of it, and I accept that because the reading is not centered around those feelings of intuition. The reading is centered around the reading of the cards. That's what I like to do. I want to read the tarot. I want to have the knowledge coming from the cards as if it's a voice outside of me. And to me, I accept that as a part of the reading, because the reading is centered around self-development. But I guess, with all of this having said, we'll even see if I post this because this might surprise some people. I surprised myself about this a little bit. Still, I feel like my practice makes sense, but you could say that I actually do make predictions, I guess. In a way. And I may have already said this, I'm not sure, but this definitely feels like the entertainment part of the reading. The whole reading is a puzzle and a deep dive and all of that. And then there's just that little aspect of this might be a yes, or that might look actually more like a no. Nuance. Nuance. Okay, so there are a few words that I was looking for in this entire video. One of them was elaborate. Yes, no, but elaborate. And then nuance. Nuance is okay. You don't want to be, in my opinion, you don't want to be rock when doing a reading. You want to be fluid and open to different messages and different possibilities. I do really try to stay open-minded. It really is the aspect of the tarot. I feel it can be very airy in that sense. All of this, just thoughts with very poor lighting. It's getting a little bit darker here, but I really want to know if you agree on my point of view. And those yes or no or anything like that, it's by no means the main focus of the reading. And so I guess that is a huge reason why I accept those moments in a reading, because it gives nuance, you know. I know that I will not always, I know that I don't always have clients who agree 100% with me on what the cards can do, right? So I do want to give those people what they want while still sticking to my own practice. And again, when it feels right, I will do it, but I will definitely include the disclaimer sandwich. Okay, I definitely hope this makes sense. This is probably the worst rambly video I have made so far, and I have been making so many rambly videos. Thank you so much for being here anyway, because if this is up, I must feel somewhere that I have, in fact, made my point. Let me know, as always, what you think. Really, this time, I need to know, do you agree with my point of view? Did it make sense? Did I make myself clear? And I would love to play this game again, because this is probably a hella long video again. If you made it to the end, can we see the, I see this as a peacock. Peacock in your comment. Like, just comment peacock if you don't have anything to add to the video, but you just want to let me know that you've seen it till the end. I will like it. Or if you do have something to say, go and get creative like so many of you do. That's really just so much fun. And add in the word peacock in your comments. So see what you do with that. Also, I am looking into, do I want to say this? My next video, or one of the next videos, is going to be this enigma around the phoenix. So yeah, that's all I'm gonna say right now. Thanks so much for being here. If you like this video, leave a like, subscribe, all of that stuff. It still feels a little bit odd to say this, but you know what? There is nobody on this YouTube channel doing my PR for me, so this is my PR, right? At the end of the video, I ask you to like, comment, subscribe. Notification bell, not my style. I say just leave that alone, please. We have enough notifications with all of the apps and all of that stuff. I don't want to add to it. So just subscribe so you know that I'm here on the internet making videos. You can be pretty sure at this point that I will post every Sunday, and then sometimes I do a live in between. So there's your notification right there. I don't think you need another ding app symbol on your phone or anything, or in your inbox. I think we have plenty of those annoyances in our lives already. If you like this video, I will put another one in the screen any moment now that I think you will enjoy as well. So thank you so much for being here, and thank you for bearing with this lighting. All right, so see you soon.